Yep.
Hello, everybody. Could I have your attention? Can you all please take a seat, please? Thank you. Bless you. What? Can you hear me? Oh, boy. Oh, am I supposed to, go somewhere? I'm online right now, live. Ho ho. So, first of all, I would like to thank you all for coming. Not only me, but my daughter Jessica, my daughter Laura. Where is she? Somewhere? Oh, there she is. We would like to thank you for coming. I mean, I can get into details, but the love and support is just shown here. So, and he's here hanging out with us. So, thank you again for coming. So, there's a lot, don't cry, Sharon. There's tissues on the table, number one. There's cigars here. Dan was a big cigar smoker, okay? Bourbon also was his other, am I in the good spot here? Bourbon, cigars, whatever. So there's cigars here. Don't leave without taking one, even though if you don't smoke. Just put it on the shelf for Dan, okay? So we're going to start some Dan stories. I'm not going to pressure anybody to come up here and talk, but if you have something to share, which I'm sure PJ will be here for like a half an hour. No? Yes, you will. That's his nephew, PJ. So I got a couple. I'll start off with one is when Dan and I first started to go get together. We met at work, Perny people, okay? Another Perny couple, if you will. We kept it a secret until I don't know how long. But anyway, one night we went out, we got totally wasted, and he got down on his knee, really, and asked me to marry him. And I turned around and I said, you can ask me tomorrow when you're sober. Because I ain't answering you right now. And he did. He asked me the next day or the day after, and I said yes, obviously. And he, he was always someone that kind of thought ahead. And he put the engagement ring, and he thought diamonds were ice, so he put it in the freezer. And I had to find it, but I found it. Okay. And then let's fast forward a little bit. We get married, we have kids, and so we were in our house. We had the playground in the backyard with the swing set, and I was working at Perny every other Saturday, so it was his turn to watch Jessica and Laura, and they were like this big. And this is a story told to me after it happened, obviously. So on Saturday, he's out there with the girls, and they're playing on the swing set, and he's trimming the bushes. And all of a sudden, either Jessica or Laura says, Papa, look at me. And Laura's hanging upside down on the swing set. And he calmly just puts down his shears and walks over and gets Laura down off the swing set, and never again am I going to multitask while I have to watch my girls. So on that Saturday that he had to watch them, he would take them, pack them up, put them in the van or the bus or the train, and he told me afterwards he'd take them into the city. Papa took us into the city. And I'm like, you took them to Patterson? And Laura's like, Jessica's like, no, Papa took us to New York City. And I'm like, you took them all the way over there? And he did. Every other Saturday, he packed them up, he put them into the car, the train, the bus, and he brought them into New York City, and they went to FAO Schwartz, that's true, because Allie went once. I think Laura got lost. Jessica got lost in FAO Schwartz, yes. I think she was in one of the turnstiles, but he found her. He took them to the Empire State Building, the Twin Towers, museums left and right, New York Public Library. He took them to the biggest room in the world, Grand Central Station. And they were like, Papa, we're hungry. So he, of course, fended out $50 for a cup of soup and a salad. But, you know, his girls were hungry, so he had to do it. And then, let's see, where else did he take you guys? Oh, Jekyll and Hyde, Mars 2112, Battery Park, Bryant Park, every other Saturday. And then, after a while, it was like, okay, start asking your friends. So he brought the girls' friends with them and brought them there. What else? Oh, yes. Never make a bet with Dan Ondeck. Never, okay? I still owe him $1,000. We had Laura and Jessica have very small windows in their bedroom, and we had an old air conditioner, and I said, that air conditioner is too big for Laura's window, way too big. He said, you want to make a bet? And I'm like, okay. He says, $1,000. And I'm like, okay, $1,000. Of course, the air conditioner fit in the window, and I have still yet to pay him $1,000, so it's coming. So those are a little bit of highlights of my stories with Dan. Anybody else want to say a few words? Laura, okay.
Okay, this is not the greatest stories. It's just a little funny things. So when I was growing up, my dad told me he helped build Disney World. Oh, sorry. He helped NASA go to space, which there may be a little bit of truth to that, according to the On-Deck people. And he also helped write the third paragraph to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And I believed all of it. And I told people at school that my dad helped build Disney World. So I probably white lied a lot on accident. And one more thing, I guess there's the only things I can think of. Me and Jessica, when she would go play bingo, sometimes with Aunt Debbie, we would play music and jump all around the living room. And one time me and Jessica were playing Hercules. She was Hercules and I was Meg. And I was dying and she was saving me. And she ripped my arm out of the socket. And my dad said, it's fine, we'll just pop it back in. And he popped my elbow, or whatever this area is, shoulder, back into the socket. It's never been the same since.
Henry, you gotta have a story about Dan. Come on, Henry.
Most of my stories I can't tell. I'll tell two.
You'll tell two, okay.
Well, they're kind of on-deck isms. They're not exactly real stories. So I met Dan on-deck in June of 1981 at Malcolm Perney, this place that we all came to love and hate and whatever. So I came and I was working kind of for Dan, and Dan says to me, you're right out of college, huh? Yeah, right. He says, I never went to college. I said, okay, fine, you didn't go to college, that's cool. And I said, how long you been here? He says, I've been here 7 years. I go, 7 years? How can anybody work at a place for 7 years? and I did like 34 years there. And Bill, how long have you been there? Were you there? Maureen, how long were you there? I'm still there, 36. James. Only 12. 42 years. 31. I could go around the room, and I was shocked that someone could be there for 7. It's incredible. But I remember, Debbie, when you mentioned never bet with Dan. You're so right. You're so right. I don't even remember what it was that I was betting Dan about. We were arguing about something. He says, "You want to bet?" I said, "Yeah, man, I'm so sure about this. I'll bet you, sure." And we bet. The bet was my wife. Oh, man. And he won. and he said, so, he used to call me Chappie sometimes. He said, "So, Chappie, give me the keys." I go, "What keys?" He says, "The keys to the house. I won the bet." And since that time, every time I'd bump into him, I'd give him a big hug, and he'd go, how's my wife doing?" And when we were together, he'd go over to her, and he'd give her a hug. He'd say, "You know I own you, right?" Oh, my gosh. I'll just tell one more. So, and this is just something that you can all take with you, too. This has got legs. You can all use it. It's after you've done something that, you kind of regret doing and other people know you did it too, right? You got caught, you got busted, right? And now you're trying to make amends. Dan would say, it takes 10 attaboys to make up for one aw shit.
Before PJ has his little story, I just want to remind everyone, even though you may not smoke, again, please take a cigar in Dan's honor and put it on your shelf. Here you go, PJ.
All right, well, I'm going to first start off. I did not know him as Dan or Uncle Dan. I knew him as Uncle Moose, and that's how I'm going to refer to him as here on out. I have no idea how he got that nickname. That was never told me. 17. You want to come up here and share it? Share it. All right. Okay, he was 17 when he got the nickname.
He was younger, I would say about 10 or 12. Before then, he was always called Danny Boy.
Okay. What was the history behind that? I never knew. Is there a story behind that?
He was 5 by 5.
Oh. Built like a moose, right?
And then from 16 to 17, he grew a foot.
All right. Well, I always knew him as my Uncle Moose. Both of my uncles always had nicknames. I had a Jocko and I had a Moose. So when I hear people talk about them by their actual names, I have to take a double check sometimes. I was very blessed and fortunate to have what I consider one of the best uncles in the world. Probably one of the 5 most influential men in my life. He taught me a lot that I'll keep to myself. But to go into the stories about the adventures, I was very blessed and fortunate to be able to come up here and spend a lot of time in the early 2000s. Pretty much, we came up like once a month, and we would go on adventures when we could. My wife and my oldest daughter would stay at home with Aunt Debbie, or they would go run around. And he and I would get in the car, and he would take me to New York City, or he would take me to any number of the legendary places here in New Jersey. And I remember every single one of them, but the one that sticks out the most was we went to the very last Yankee-Red Sox game in Yankee Stadium. And he looked at me after that game and says, "We're going to go the first time we can get into the new Yankee Stadium together." So we did. We walked over to Gate 2 at the new Yankee Stadium about a month and a half before it opened. We walked up to the gate. The door was wide open. He looked at me and he says, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, "Not for nothing, Peach, but if we can get in, why not?" So that's what we did. We walked right into the Yankee Stadium through Gate 2. We walked right past several people. He acted like he had been there 100 times. I know he patted a couple palms on the way in. I am sure of that. But there we were with a bunch of Yankee executives eating steak dinner at a buffet in Yankee Stadium a month and a half before it opened. That's just one of many. He also took me to Grand Central Station many times. We sat and he would say, "You see the most interesting people in the world here. Just pay attention." He would always tell me, just pay attention. So we would sit downstairs in the basement, eat an oyster stew, and drink a Budweiser, and that's where I watched the world go by. He taught me a lot of lessons about life, and I know he's always going to be with us. He's always going to be with me. I look forward to hearing more stories. Thank you all.
Anybody brave enough? No? Anybody? Bob, James, Bill? Anybody? No, we're good? Oh, Laura has another story. Oh, boy.
Mommy didn't know this story until like he died after I told her. So you know those little Virgin mobile phones that you guys used to have, like those prepaid ones? Well, he got me one of those, and I spent $1,200 on games and ringtones. So he got the bill, and he was like, "Oh." And he asked me, what did I spend all the money on? And I said I was just buying games and ringtones, and I just had a bunch of stuff on the phone now, and it was just great. And he's like, all right, I'll take the phone. And I thought he was going to take it away from me, and I was just so upset. And he was like, no, wait, stay here. I need you to watch this. So he took the phone, he opened it, and he grabbed the hammer, he slammed it, and he said, no more ringtones, no more games. And I was like, I just spent $1,200. And he broke the phone.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of other things I have with him. No, he never told me that story.
Yeah. He kept that from her. He probably thought you were going to be mad about that.
$1,200? Yeah, I would think so. What about the time that
It was unlimited. As I thought it was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you know that? No, I did not. He signed his name on Jessica's report card? Jessica signed Daniel's. Oh, Jessica signed his name.
Oh, forged signatures.
No, not on my report card, on my test. You don't remember? Miss
Oh.
Rossetti called in the morning and was like.
Oh, and then the teacher or
and then
somebody
he
called.
told her that he was gonna chain me up in the basement.
Yeah, yeah. The best part though is when they hung up the phone, he said to Jessica, if you're gonna sign my name, do it right.
Exactly.
Let me show you how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Brother, you have any stories you got to tell? Huh? Not yet. No. So, if anybody thinks of anything, I know I passed along a book. Okay, if you got some stories in there, that's great. Write them in there. So yeah, I'm gonna just share a few last minute things here. And again, thank you all for coming, and take some food with you. Chip. All right, Chip made it. Now we could have the party. Chip is Henry's son, by the way. Just pointing him out. So I don't know if you're on Facebook or not, but I had posted that Dan was a hoarder. Beyond hoarders, that's an understatement. And some of my cousins know, and some of the friends that came over. You know, when he passed, I started to clean the basement, because when we moved into the house, he said, I have to have a little man cave. So I gave him like a quarter of the, really half of the basement, but then it turned into a quarter, and then maybe a third. You know, we kind of took over. But anyway, I started to go through. I'm a Virgo. Let's back up a little bit. I'm a Virgo, so I'm very organized. And are you laughing at me, Elena? Okay. With the signs over there. Anyway, so I started to go through the stuff in the basement. And I will share a picture online, but Dan had, and people can vouch for it because I shared with them, and Steve probably too, and Pete probably too, the brothers. If he had one screwdriver, he had 100 screwdrivers. If he had one sander, he had 5 sanders. One drill, he had 10 drills. Wrenches, oh, you name it. So I went through everything and labeled everything so that when you can go downstairs in the basement and see what each drawer has, you know, here's a screwdriver. And Jessica said, well, that's a good thing and a bad thing, because if we get robbed, the people will know exactly where to go to get the things, you know. But that's okay. And then I was telling my Purdy alumni that we have a shed in the backyard, and Jessica went in there and started to rummage through, and we have drawings, design drawings, which are probably as big or almost as big as this table here, of water treatment plants from 20, 30 years ago, reports and summaries and investigations of Purdy stuff. So I told Henry that in the fall we're going to have a cleaning of the shed party, and we're going to take out, yes, Bob?
Can you send me one of those flash reports from 1983?
Absolutely.
I joined, which was the youngest of all these. I said, Danny, what did this look like back then? And all he would do is go to this big pile of stuff on his desk, and he'd always find what I was looking for.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, Malcolm Purdy Inc. Yeah, from the 1970s, the 1980s. Yeah, we have the interoffice memorandum from them. What am I going to do with a blank interoffice memorandum? I have no idea. But anyway, so we're going to have a Malcolm Purdy party in the backyard, and we'll go through all these drawings, and maybe we'll make a museum. I don't know. But anyway, anybody else have any other stories they want to share? No? My
Question out of curiosity, that wonderful poster that he had at his desk, which was just nothing but prosciuttos as far as the eye.
It's missing.
It's missing? That and Farrah Fawcett in the 70s, those are the two top posters that were ever made. Just beautiful.
Cheese and one of prosciutto, and I can't find them.
That was a
But I have a
beautiful
picture of
poster.
Secretariat, the horse,
Yes.
which he
Oh,
says
wow.
his
Yes.
favorite
Racehorse.
of all time.
So we have a big poster of Secretariat, yes.
But I can't find the prosciutto poster.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly what you're talking about, yes.
Used to hang at his desk all the time.
Yep.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm in the mood. I can't imagine why.
Cheese and prosciutto, yes. But anyway, I again want to thank my Purdy alumni, my adopted daughters, my family here on the Guarentis, and the Corso family, and my on deck. Well, let me tell you, okay? Dan always said to me, that's my family. Not his family, my family. So there, and my friends, oh gosh, way back there. Chip, yes, Chip, again. My reunion crew. Oh, thank you for taking Dan in as one of your own. And if I missed anybody, my neighbors, my neighborhoods. Love you too. Yeah. I'm coming in your pool. Again, thank you so much. We have the hall till 4 o'clock, so enjoy. Love you all.
Now I can fly. Take a picture.
Hello, 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 hello. One more. I have one more thing. I have one more thing. One more. So, I just wanted to make sure before we kind of, break up and we leave, because it looks like we might start doing a little bit of that. I wanted to just take a moment to remember that we're here to celebrate Dan, to celebrate on that, right? So if you can find a glass, find a cup, find a cigar, find a bottle of water, whatever you can get your hands on, and raise it to toast to, oh man, I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, that would be great if we had bourbon. To really a very, very special person, Dan Ondek.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, one last ha 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 before we leave. My very first memory of Dan was when he first started dating my sister, and I went to my mother. I go, "Who the hell's this old gray-haired guy dating my sister?" I have pictures up there somewhere from that same weekend that all happened. And last thing, I can only imagine the real stories of Dan, who went his whole life looking like Michael McDonald and Kenny Rogers and who else. And from what I understood, he took advantage of that a lot. A lot.
Oh, yes.
Hi. I'm behind the camera. So again, he taught me a lot, and he'll be here forever. Thanks.